The family of the late South African ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa, is preparing to say their final goodbyes at his Category 2 official funeral. The 58-year-old's body arrived in KwaZulu-Natal yesterday after being flown in from Paris. His family, former colleagues and comrades in the ANC formed a guard of honour to receive his remains at the King Shaka International Airport. Mthethwa died after falling from a hotel in Paris last week, prompting an investigation. President Cyril Ramaphosa is set to deliver the eulogy at his funeral tomorrow. Ziyanda Ngcobo joins us from KwaZulu-Natal, as does Silethiwe and Ndlovu. Very good afternoon to you both. Ziyanda, allow me to start with you. Now, we understand that this will be a special official funeral. Could you outline how government, family and obviously the community work together in the process of bidding farewell to Ambassador Mthethwa?
Well, let's start off with what's happening at this hour. As our colleague Morena shows you, it's at this very moment that the family is preparing to leave the KwaZulu-Natal home. In fact, I can see the elders and Dr. Sfiso Buthelezi edging closer. They are going to now make their way to where Silethiwe and Ndlovu is, at the mortuary, where they're going to fetch the remains of Nathi Mthethwa and bring them back here at home. He will spend his last night here at his Mthethwa homestead before that special official funeral that you asked me about. In terms of the protocols when it comes to that, Hugo, as you'd know that a premier or a provincial leader can write to the president, or even the president himself can accord someone, a distinguished person, that kind of a funeral. And there's, of course, a difference between a state funeral and an official funeral. This is a special official funeral, Category 2, Hugo, which means then that it will be, it will be clad with certain elements. This includes, it's going to be, they're going to be leaders of the province. The presidents, as you've said, will be delivering the eulogy. And just excuse our visuals as we try and get closer and give you a closer shot of what's happening. There's Dr. Sfiso Buthelezi. He's someone who has been in communication with us. I've just waved to him, so let's just try and get him very, very quickly. Thank you so much. What's happening? You're going to the mortuary.
Yeah.
And welcome home.
Thank you. It's nice to be at home. Really, it's nice to be at home amongst our people. Thank you very much from everybody. Whoever I talk to, I just say thank you. We're about to do the difficult part. We're going to the mortuary to go and get Nathi to have his last sleep in his house and home. It becomes very emotional, but it's a very important thing that we do, that he must come and sleep for the last day here at his house, his home, and then tomorrow we start with the burial service of Nathi. It's one of those times, when we come back with the casket, the most difficult part for us, but we must do it, and that's what we're going to do. But we're happy now. We're getting closer to the close of this chapter, right? We started with us in Paris and stuff. We all wept when we landed in South Africa, because sometimes there's this thing, people take it for granted to be at home, right? But when you are outside, then you feel when you just landed at OR Tambo Airport. A very important person in our struggling, a very important person in the life of Nathi. And then we went to Durban, and then we landed at King Shaka Airport. A very important hero, which Nathi identified with, again as a Minister of Arts and Culture, identified with. So we landed there, and that was also even more happier, because we're landing at our province at King Shaka Airport and received by our own. Our families were there. Our comrades were there, South Africans were when we landed, and we are really grateful. That's all what I want to say. South Africans, we could hear you, we could feel you. We're part of your emotions. You were part of our emotions. So thank you very much.
All right, Doc, let's allow you to leave. That's Dr. Sifiso Buthelezi. The family has to go, Hugo. They are bound for where Silethiwe Ndlovu is at the Ngcobo Lethu in Mpangeni. As you can see, the cars are lining up. The family will go now, as Dr. Buthelezi said, to go and conduct the difficult part where they go and fetch his spirit for the last time and bring him back home so that he can spend one final evening here, KwaMbonambi, his home and his homestead. So the cortege is going to leave any moment from now. Let's take you though to Silethiwe Ndlovu, who is in Mpangeni. Silethiwe, what's happening on your side? Well, on our side, Ziyanda, we are waiting to see the family arrive here. Of course, we are at Ngcobo Lethu in Mpangeni, as you've rightfully indicated. They will be coming here, of course, to fetch the remains of Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa. And the preparations at this particular moment, we know they are continuing. In fact, we have also been told that even at this very moment, the preparations are still, in fact, underway. But I'm going to ask my colleague, just to give you a better sense of what we can see here. Of course, we were told by people from Ngcobo Lethu, they stated that the trailer there that you can see behind this vehicle is the trailer that is going to be transporting the remains of the late Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa. And we know, of course, that the family, the Mthethwa and the Buthelezi family, had indicated right after the news of his death broke that one of their greatest calls is to bring him home. So that's what we are set to see take place. I do believe they had indicated that the family should be arriving at around 3 p.m. That's when we should be leaving this area. We are then going to go to KwaMbonambi at the Mthethwa homestead, where, of course, my colleague Ziyanda Ngcobo is stationed at this particular point. Now, earlier on, of course, we had a conversation with the son of the late ambassador, the eldest son, that being Mkhululi Mthethwa, who stated that the family, of course, at this particular moment is still quite devastated after the death of Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa, but also stating that they are quite relieved to have him home. But there's also still many discussions, and this is now even despite the late ambassador coming home, there's still many discussions, of course, still happening surrounding the circumstances of his death. Still a few unanswered questions, and the family stating that they will be waiting for any investigations that will be coming from the police, if any. But at this particular moment, then we are waiting for the family to arrive here at Ngcobo Lethu in Mpangeni to come and collect the remains of the late Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa. But of course, his comrades, his friends, his family, they are continuing to remember him during this time. And we did have a discussion with the ANC. Of course, he was a long-standing member of the ANC, and that's where he rose to prominence. So I want us to have a listen to what the ANC had to say to us when we spoke to them about Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa.
One of the significant contributions of Comrade Nathi in our lives has been political education. Ngokuba amasosha omkhonto wesizwe alithanda izwe lakubo kangaka, uNathi ingxenye yawo. Alithanda izwe lakubo kangaka ngoba ayezimisele ulahlekelwa impilo yayo. Ngoba mawujela umzabalazo ngalesa sikhathi, wawungajoyela umzabalazo yabona ke manje ngasenhlanhleni ngizoyithola le tende kuthiwa izoba khona. Ngizoba ezindlini zoba ngibe yimeya ngifake la. Wawukuthi kwakuma na 3 options. Wawuba uye jele, uye exile, noma uyafa.
We still await I'd say the view of the South African government. Of course, this work is being done in cooperation with French authorities. I think that it will be very premature for a sense of closure to even be experienced by many, because the nature of this death is too brutal. And I think that it's early days still. What is heartening, though, is that the family is coming to grips with this reality, coming to terms, painful as it is. And it was quite heartening to see how both the Buthelezi and the Mthethwa families working very closely together, supporting one another, led by the elders, and the dignified manner with which him coming back home, the way it was demonstrated, certainly to those of us who were able to join that very solemn occasion at King Shaka International Airport.
So that's the ANC remembering the immense contribution by Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa. We, at this moment, are waiting for his family to come and collect his remains here at Ngcobo in Mpangeni. But of course, we will have more news and more views after this short break.